Hello, I'm Deepa, a leadership coach and a facilitator. And in my many years of experience coaching leaders, there's one common thing that I've observed, that leaders are ambitious, they want to achieve, uh, they love success and love the taste and the ring and the smell of it. But a lot of times it gets one sided. Now, when somebody on a sustained basis is standing on one leg, it is unsustainable. And that causes a lot of stress, a lot of pressure, and it does impact the mindsets and the overall sense of well-being. And that's the intention of the series, which is called The Leader's Voice, where we invite leaders who are ambitious, successful in their own way, and yet are not on one length. They believe in balance, they believe in inner mastery leading to outer success. They are engaged in different methodologies and practices to be able to bring balance between their inner life and outer success. And one such guest today with us is our dear Shilpa Ajwani. Shilpa, welcome to the series because we want to amplify your voice today.
Thank you, Deepa. What a lovely topic to be speaking with you, who symbolize everything you just spoke about.
Thank you. You know, it was never always like this for me, Shilpa, and that's the best thing. Till about 10 years back, when I was in the corporate world, I was exactly like those people I coach today. You know, for me, success was everything. You know, exceeded expectation, or maybe far exceeded expectation, is what I always gun towards. But it came at a cost to me, and when I could not bear that cost, is when I said, quit. But I had to quit and then figure out my life. And now I know that if I had this knowledge of balance, then I think life would have been very different. It would have been success, but with a lot of ease and flow. So, and when I'm now looking at leadership, it's not just a position or a title. It's much more than that. So each one of us who are here, who are not in corporate jobs, and that's fine. We are a leader in ourselves, and who better than you to celebrate, today actually. So just a bit to introduce Shilpa. Shilpa Ajwani is the founder and CEO of Mantra, a business strategy consulting and leadership advisory firm. Through Mantra, she enables startups, entrepreneurs, as well as corporate leaders to thrive by aligning strategy with purpose. She's also the founder of SHEmantra, a global community of women entrepreneurs in service-based businesses that is present in 15 countries today. And I'm so lucky that I am part of SHEmantra, this beautiful community of soul sisters, and of course we are entrepreneurs, and it's a beautiful, warm community, I would say. Shilpa has had an illustrious career with reputed MNCs and has earned a rock solid reputation as a transformational corporate leader and entrepreneur in the last 3 decades. Among many accolades she has won was CEO of the Year in 2017, conferred by the Economic Times Polymer Awards, while she was leading Tupperware India as the managing director. She's a much sought after speaker, panelist, mentor, and advisory board member. She's also a sought after sounding board, and I can vouch that for all the Shrimanthans present here who will watch this episode in days to come. So thank you, Shilpa, for being you, being so special, and being all that today's theme represents. Because as a part of SHEmantra, I see you attending so many workshops that's offered in different genres, and you take away something, you summarize, and you give back to us as food for thought. So speaks a lot about you. So if you could share your journey, so the whole concept here is that inner mastery leads to outer success. Inner mastery doesn't come very naturally to many of us because it's not taught in schools, colleges, and probably when we reach a dead end is when for some of us it begins. How did it begin for you, and what is your journey in this space?
So for me, I think the journey became, I would say, at an unconscious level, perhaps even in the home that I was born. And born to beautiful parents who had an incredible value system that really helped me understand what humanity is all about at a very early age. And I could see both of them so gifted, so special in their own different ways, without having the tendency to impose their ways on their own children, on each other, and to those around them as well. And I think I imbibed the fact that there is a possibility in our world to thrive and let thrive. Not just to live and let live, because to me that really talks about just survival and going back to our primitive times where we had to do just anything with the purpose of, staying alive one more day. But to me, what I saw was the ability to thrive under any conditions. And of course, as a child, you don't understand all of that. But as I grew older and I saw the world around me, I realized that there was a big difference between how many other adults were showing up compared to the role models that I had at home. And that's where I think my whole journey, at a very unconscious, I wouldn't even say subconscious, unconscious level, started as to there has to be a better way to exist. There has to be something more that I can be. And I was suitably challenged by my, education, I would say, because from being a science student, I went into humanities. I studied economics at an incredible time in India's journey where it was liberalizing and opportunities were opening up. So there was a lot of challenge in changing my own mindset from wanting to become a doctor, just a few months back, to really understanding the world of economics and seeing the possibilities and the opportunities, and realizing that the more curious we are about, what makes me adapt, what makes me love this and love that, and that's where I think I understood the possibility of being an and person, that we don't have to live from a place of lack, but there is abundance. And it's up to us on how we really start to embrace everything, every new experience, good, bad, or ugly, it will shape us in some way. And my corporate career was with amazing multinationals, very purpose driven organizations, leaders I worked with. And I think the moment you start to see the good in others, you start to see a possible reflection that could be inside of you to have recognized that good in the others as well. Right. And to have that exposure worldwide across continents, different countries, different organizations, industry domains, job responsibilities. I think it just allowed me, by challenging me constantly, pushing me against the wall to discover that innate strength on one hand, that yes, I can do this. Even if it looks difficult, I can do this. And even if I've never done this before, I can still do this. So I think, that's where one part of that journey, the inner mastery that you were speaking about, started to knock its door, and it started to become a little bit more conscious, where I started to look at my own development as a leader much more holistically. Then I think the other very big milestone, life-changing milestone, was becoming a mother. And I think that really connects you to your inner self and who you are like nothing else does. Till date, I believe that. And when I, had spent about 25 years in the corporate world, had become a young CEO, had a very privileged, successful life, which really, pushed me on one hand, but rewarded me beautifully and abundantly on the other. I really felt in my mid 40s that it was, a life of success that I led so far. But what could make it a life of significance? And just asking that question to myself on a birthday evening after the cake was cut and the celebration was done opened up a whole new world for me. And I decided to jump into a new world, the world of entrepreneurship. and establish myself from scratch in a completely new, different terrain. I felt the fear, but I did it anyway. And I think that really allowed me to evolve into another person. And I was ready to do bigger things. I was ready to also do the hard work, because going inwards is tough. You don't meet very pleasant experiences as you go inwards. You have to almost break yourself down before you can build yourself up. But from breakdowns came my breakthroughs. And I think whether it was Uno Mantra and the tremendous work we have done in this firm with leaders and organizations, entrepreneurs, or founding SHEmantra right in the middle of the pandemic and taking it global with amazing women who are so incredibly talented. I think just being surrounded with this energy is just propelling me forward and upwards every single day. So it's been a beautiful journey, and I'm happy it just is panning out this way.
Wow. I'm just taking all of this insight, and even two words were striking me. Your journey is kind of a combination of nature, which was so unconsciously given to you, and then nurture that you consciously embarked on. And the best of the two is what you see, is what we see in you today.
Thank you.
It's so beautiful. Yeah. So you said that you did meet fears, and those are real, actual demons. And sometimes I know people say fears are needed to an extent. Sometimes fears can cripple us. What's been the role of fears in your life, both as a professional, as a corporate leader, as well as an entrepreneur?
So I think, fear has been by my side, I would say, all the time, because like I said, whether it was just changing the streams that I was studying, or the kind of unconventional career that I embarked upon, leaving some very safe choices, it isn't that I've not felt the fear in each of those turning points in my life. But the good thing is that I allowed it to challenge me, but not allowed it to defeat me. And when I think why that was possible, it's only because I think I've learned how to operate from my innate purpose. And they say, when your purpose is bigger than your fears, it allows your dreams to be bigger than all those scary monsters in you, around you. And you do feel strong enough to go on. Is there nagging doubt? I'm not good enough. Does the imposter syndrome show up as to who am I to be even thinking like this or thinking this big? Or how crazy to leave the corporate world and become a nobody on one hand.
Yeah.
And what if you put yourself and your family and everybody through pain and losses and ridicule just by this one step of yours? I think all of these questions definitely hounded me, not once but several times. But like I said, I always turn in and tune in and tune into my purpose. And I think when you have that North Star guiding you, it's not for very long that you will get lost. You will find your way. And I've managed to find my way, Deepa. So far, so good.
Beautiful. You remind me of this model of creative tension, where on one hand there is the vision, and on the other hand, there's this hopelessness, powerlessness, and in between is the man. And both these are like rubber bands. It pulls the human being in different directions, and it's about where the human being looks. If the human being looks at the vision and purpose, it's not that this is not absent. This pull is there, but that gets more energy, and that's where you get pulled.
Correct.
And that image is so powerful for me. Thank you for bringing that. And it also connects to what you said a while earlier. Do I want to live a life of success or a life of significance? So it is such a North Star sentence kind of a thing. Yeah. So, how did this inner exploration, tuning in, help you in taking decisions? Can you share an example from your life, from your work or your entrepreneurial journey?
Yeah, so I would say that let's even just talk about SHEmantra. I can definitely speak about enough and more professional examples, where I work with organizations and leaders, and amazing results have come in because of the fact that one operates from a place of being and not just the application of the mind alone. And when the being and the thinking combine forces, that's where the leading then becomes full of ease, full of joy, and full of inspiration. So, to me, I think when the pandemic hit, and as I was speaking to a client of mine, I realized that this gentleman is blessed to have a great family supporting him at this point in time. He's flush with funds, and yet he's feeling lost and scared and very fearful about what the future really holds. And these were early days of the pandemic. We didn't know anything. There were no vaccines, and we were all locked down, literally, bodies and mind, everything. And when I sort of sat down and I reflected after that call, Deepa, what struck me was that there are amazing women entrepreneurs like myself who are embarking on a second innings. They've given up cushy corporate careers. And they have got new credentials. They have become qualified in completely new domains. And they are ready to serve the world with their gifts and talents and skills. And yet, the coaching, consulting, counseling domains were, overtaken by the tendency to cook, clean, and care give because that became the need of the hour in most homes at that point in time. And I felt that this is a cause. It's close to me. We can't lose all this talent. We cannot allow these women to play small. They deserve to play big. And I could have just sat down, overanalyzed, ruminated about this, felt it's not my job, somebody will take care of it. Yeah, it's a botheration. It's full of despair for me when I think about it. But hey, look at my own situation. Is it any different? So, what makes me confident that I can manage my own situation, family, professional, and take on this added responsibility of taking so many individuals with me in an unknown world today? So if I were to just rely on logical reasoning, on strategic thinking alone, without tapping into the power of intuition, purpose, right? Creating newer beliefs even for myself, with reflection and operating from that place of calm, harmony, poise, to really take a more sound decision. It wouldn't have happened had that inner journey not begun a few years ago, and a conscious inner journey, right? Because my default would have been survival mode. It would not have been thoughts of abundance and thriving and possibilities. So this is one example of not so long ago,
Yes.
which actually has not just changed my life, but today there are more than 600 women in 15 countries who can swear by the same experience as I am swearing by.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm a part of it. So beautiful. I mean, one thing that struck me was being and thinking is leading.
Yeah.
So it's like the layers of the iceberg,
Yeah.
the 10% and the 90%, and all the elements of purpose, instinct, with the thinking, with the beliefs, looking at that and thriving and finally leading is what we see.
Yes.
What a journey, no? To really recall.
True.
So to make this happen, Shilpa, you would have your own daily practices, weekly, monthly practices. We would love to know what are your practices.
Hmm. Okay, so I would say that I have three keystone habits, and they are keystone because they have a huge impact on my way of life, the fulfillment and joy I live with, and also the ability to create impact in my own way, in my family, in my neighborhood, on the world. So the three practices I would say which are keystone would be number one, waking up early. And since the past few days, this year has been, interesting. I've started to wake up at 4:30 a.m., which is new for me. I have been an early riser, but this was challenging myself further. And the second is to really do mindful walking, and this really opens up my own mind, my heart, and of course is great for my body too. It's an energetic start to my day,
Yeah.
right? Also helps me connect to the world outside, to nature, to the sun, which is very important for
Yeah.
me. I am witness to the sunrise every day, which is beautiful. And the third keystone habit is really reading, and reading the Gita with the Bhagavad Gita with a group of friends again at SHEmantra, but also apart from that, just reading to open up my mind and reflecting upon that. So reading isn't enough, but really converting that to reflection so that that translates into action for me as well as my clients who are leaders, who are firms, who are entrepreneurs in their own right. So these are three keystone. But apart from that, journaling, affirmations, meditation has become a very big part of my life. I think it's my anchor for the day, and I have my own ways that I do it. It's very difficult for me to stay true to prescribed methods, but I
Yeah.
know the recipe that I have created, concocted that works for me, and I'm happy with all what this together is doing. And I see my life as an abundance wheel, and all of these are different spokes. All of these habits are spokes in that abundance wheel that I am creating, and I do hope it becomes like a flywheel, and I'm able to take this to many more people around the world too.
Lovely. Wow. I'm actually imagining, because I'm a visual person, I'm imagining the abundance wheel. Wow, it's so profound. So, now that you do this, I'm sure you do it rhythmically. Has it always been a rhythm for you, or when did it start? Because you know why I'm asking this? A lot of people I meet, I coach, they say, I don't have time.
Yeah.
Will I work? Will I chase success, deadlines, or will I do all of that? I sleep late, I can't wake up, and then I have to run for my first meeting. So, what's your thought on this?
Hmm. So very honestly, I think few practices might have been there here and there, but in the corporate world, I was that person who was running on autopilot, who was proud to say, "I have no time. I am so busy.
Correct.
Oh, I have to fly here today, and I have to present over here today, and it's that event and that conference and that board meeting." So life was full, but the refrain was, "I have no time," and that became an excuse first, and then it became a belief, and then you start working and behaving in accordance, right?
Yeah.
So I have no time to sit and eat in peace. I have no time to exercise. I have no time to call people who are close to me. So all of these things which started to really consume me in a way that wasn't working for me, and it depletes you, and that's what leads to chronic stress, which you don't realize. um, Good stress is good for all of us and we can manage, but when that starts to translate to overwhelm and we don't take time to repair and renew and refresh ourselves constantly, I think it just brings out the worst in you.
Yes.
So, honestly, when I turned entrepreneur, that's the time when I was busiest, in fact, at work, because everything was new for me. I was learning and adapting and innovating. But that's also the time where I made time to go deeper, to see that, what's the kind of lifestyle I want to design for myself. And from living a life of default, to live and create a life by design became a very big theme in my everyday. And that's where, honestly, one after the other, the rhythm started to emerge. And I think 2023, 24, I mean, these have been milestone years, and 24 has just started. But I think now I'm sure of who I am and what makes me feel abundant, what gives me a sense of well-being. And I just want to design all of those elements in my everyday and make time. I still have the same 24 hours, but now I am stubborn about making time for all these things which make life worth living.
Wow, beautiful, beautiful. Your content is not just juicy, but the way you speak it is so musical. Thank you.
Thank
Uh, as you were saying, a thought just popped in. This morning, I was having a session with a client, and one of the things that he is pondering on is, uh, as we transition to a higher role, the fear that I'm experiencing increases, and I see this happening with many. Is it true? Does it always happen that fears come when you transition to a higher level, or is it just me? What's your thought?
I think it is real because as you transition to higher levels, you realize that the stakes have become bigger. Also, you start to be that one person who can be seen clearly. You do stand out because of your title, because of the responsibility that you have. And with the stakes being very high, um, it is but obvious that even if you were a fairly confident person before, you would start to get a little bit anxious about whether you are up for the job or not.
Yeah,
And yeah, and there is a difference between men and women. Women never feel they're ready for a job, and they would always operate from that, holding them back. But even the men I have seen, and I have a lot of brilliant clients who are men as well, who could be very confident before they get a job because that's how they grow, and they are ambitious, and they feel they can get it. But once you have it, you realize that the world's looking at you. And what makes it tough is that these are turbulent times for any leader. The world is no longer predictable. It's the change and the speed of change. It's a disruption in personal lives, in the socio-economic fabric, the whole geopolitical dynamics, right? So many disruption, technology, and the pace at which it is hitting all of us and our lives, positively, negatively, ambiguously, all of that all at once. It's a lot for any human being to handle. And on top of that, if you are in a leadership role, you're also lonely and vulnerable, but you cannot really share that vulnerability as well. So holding so much inside of you just makes that anxiety even come alive even more. And that's where I do feel leaders need the tools, um, that safe space, that ability to journal, reflect, and do a deep dive as to how can they anchor themselves to something which will keep them solid and brave
yeah,
at at this very, very turbulent time that we are all living in, and allow them to operate at full capacity, rather than showing up, with all the low vibrational energies, which hound us everywhere. So I think he's right, but at the same time, the good news is you have today access like never before to people like you, Deepa, coaches who know what holistic well-being is all about. To models like, say, the Spire model, which says spirituality, physical, intellectual, relational, environmental well-being. Look at it in totality and go and find means to achieve that for yourself, right? And last but not the least, it is okay to be vulnerable as a leader. It is more acceptable. So tap into that positive change in society as well, and know how to do it and when to do it right. So
Yes.
all this is available to him to do his best.
Yes. Yes. Beautiful. Beautiful. When you bring about vulnerability, one of the biggest element that we have for that is our emotional layer, the
Hmm.
world of emotion that operates inside us. And emotions are like air. I hate you. I like you. They can go like a pendulum going here to there. And at levels of leadership, it's as you said, lonely. We also have to wear a mask, and we need to know, right, like you rightly said, when to remove it before it becomes me, and I don't realize what's a mask and what's me.
Right.
And I work with several leaders who find this aspect very, very difficult, despite tools. Even in a coaching conversation, out of 10 sessions, it takes them several sessions to really be okay and feel safe to speak. So what's your thought on, how do you do it, or how you did it, or how can others peel this layer, have the mask, and also remove them and place it on the hanger when you don't need, and wear it back when you need it.
True. So I think it really honestly has to begin, and there is no shortcut to this, Deepa. How much ever I would love to give a formula
Yeah.
that do X and Y will happen. It's a journey we all have to go through, and there is conditioning that we have because we are a part of society, and the whole society has a certain conditioning, cultural beliefs, norms, that all of us feel obliged to live up to. So to do anything which we might feel will make us stand out, feels very unnerving. It feels
Mm.
scary, and we don't know how it will land. So even if we become okay in taking off that mask, we are not so sure what will be the response of people around us, and will that serve us or will that destroy us. So I think that fear, that anxiety, that panic, the moment you are anytime about to do that, sets in, and many people just put that back on, right? Even if they've realized it's a mask, right? The other kind of people I've seen is that they have actually started to believe that the mask is very much a part of them.
Yes.
This is who they are. And if you will take away that mask, they will feel lost. They will lose their ground,
Yes.
and they wouldn't know how to operate. Yeah. So, whichever way you look at it, I think the answer is to go within to understand that what are my values today? And once you connect back with your value system, because a lot of us are living with disconnection. And since we are so disconnected with our own selves, our own values, our true being, our sense of authenticity as to who we are, why are we here, and what do we really like, and what do we really love, and which part of us are we most proud of, and we want the world to know. We don't go in and explore that a lot. So, and over the years, all this conditioning just puts layers and layers
Yeah.
of pressure.
Yes.
So how do you take all of that to be able to even uncover that? I think that's why it's not easy work. But I'm so glad many leaders are up for it today,
Yeah.
even if it takes them sessions after sessions after session to open up. I think it's still worth it. So getting in touch with your value system, uncovering your beliefs, especially the disempowering ones, replacing those with empowering ones. That's the work I needed to do for myself also. That's why I'm talking out of experience as a practitioner of someone who lived that life and now is living another life. So it's possible, right? And thirdly, once you have those empowering beliefs, to also create a life vision, to say that what is that kind of life that I would want to live. And work is only one part of life. We assume it is everything, but that's not true. And I think the pandemic also did teach us that, right? So in this mortal life, work is one part of it, and we have the ability to design our life, our work, the people we want to surround ourselves with. And once they start to do that work, they will see that there is another way to exist. The only caveat I would say is that reading about vulnerability is good, but please don't go tomorrow and stand, in front of everybody in a town hall and start giving your most confidential secrets and personal challenges out to the whole world. A, the world is not concerned. And B, why would you want to burden people with things they don't really need to know? But yes, there are times where people need to see the human side of you. And it actually opens up a lot more for them to see you human. But before that, please establish your competence. Please establish the fact that you can take care of your people, that you are worthy as a leader. Definitely speak about your vision, your purpose, and your expectations, and then have those moments where you can be a human being in front of them and not just that leader. It'll free you up. It will free them up as well, and then once it happens, you will never look back. I'm sure of that.
Beautiful. Lovely. I love the way you swam below the iceberg. You took us to the values, to the core, to the beliefs, the world of instincts, intuition, and from there create the life of your choice by design, which really is what we see above the iceberg.
Okay.
Beautiful. It was such a beautiful swim throughout this journey. Uh, I think we are in a good place where we've covered the whole iceberg. Any closing comments, Shilpa?
I would say that we have more power than we realize. And let's use it to thrive and let thrive.
Beautiful.
Let's do
I
it.
think I think from the thriving for you was a gift, and I think it continues to be a gift that you offer to the world.
Yes.
So grateful for that, and may you be an inspiration to many, many more leaders, women, and humankind. Thank you very much, Shilpa, for being a part of us.
Thank you, Deepa. I enjoyed my conversation with you.
Me too.